Okay, so we're gonna go with a level 2 meal tonight. A little more complicated, not that bad though. Looks like there's a lot of ingredients, but there's not really that much work to it. So it's garlic butter shrimp pasta. So it's really good, at least I hope so. I haven't made it before, so we'll see. But I think it's gonna be really good. And then, but it's not a lot of work, I don't think. So I'm gonna show you what the ingredients are. One second. Okay, so we've got a whole stick of butter that's eventually gonna be used. It says kosher salt, cooked shrimp is what I'm using, although it actually talks about cooking the shrimp, but we're gonna do a little simpler and have the shrimp already cooked, which means peeled and deveined. So that's what you wanna make sure you have. Black pepper, oregano, the fettuccine pasta, some Parmesan cheese, some baby arugula. I don't know why it's baby, I guess it's just really small arugula, and some parsley. So I think that's all the ingredients that we're gonna need. And so I'm going to hand this over to my lovely assistant, Vanna White. She's gonna video me while I start making this stuff. Okay, so first, boil the pasta. So, water. Big pan so that it won't boil over. Make sure you use a big enough pot. So we'll get some water. It probably tells me exactly how much water I should use. I don't care. I just put in enough to cover the pasta and a little bit more. So put in about half a pot. About a half a pot. And we'll light up our stove over here. We'll put the lid on it so that it boils a little faster. Get that water boiling, and then we'll put in the pasta. Once the water's boiling, you want to put the pasta in, not while it's getting ready to boil. Okay, then it says we take the shrimp, and now this is still frozen shrimp, so it says to put a little salt and pepper on it. So, okay, so the recipe calls for 1 kosher salt, which would mean, I can't get it, okay. 1 kosher salt. I don't think that's really gonna be enough. We're gonna add a little more than just 1 kosher salt. So, I'm gonna just take, I don't wanna add too much salt, but and it just kind of covers the palm. Sprinkle it all around. Little black pepper. Okay, so a lot of times I don't go by measurements. I just kind of go by what looks about right. So I'm gonna put in about that much black pepper. Get those out of my way, and then I'm going to grab something to kind of mix all this around. Once it gets into the mix and starts getting heated up, all that will get mixed in too. So. Okay, to the side. All right, now in a large skillet, I'm going to put in 2 tablespoons of butter, and on the butter, there's little lines. 1 tablespoon, 2 tablespoons, 3 tablespoons. So they want 2 tablespoons of butter in here. So, what I typically do is kind of push through the paper a little bit so I know where that 2 tablespoons is. And when I finish unwrapping the butter, I know where to cut it. So I'm going to put 2 tablespoons of butter into the pot. Into the large skillet. All right, we're going to let that melt for just a minute or 2. Shouldn't take too long. Turn this down a little bit because that flame is just a little too high here. There we go. Okay. Butter is melting. And Now, one of the things we want to do is, I'm actually going to turn this down because I forgot one thing. Garlic. It calls for 4 cloves of garlic. Now, garlic is really good, so I'm probably going to do a little more than 4 cloves. And garlic is a pain to peel. So I'm going to show you a little thing that we got that helps get the garlic peeled a little better, a little easier. That's 3 cloves. There's 4 cloves, but they're big ones, so maybe I will go with 4 because those are some pretty big cloves. Nah, I want 5. Never mind. Okay, 5 cloves. So we have my drawers over here. This handy dandy little instrument called a garlic peeler. Okay, real simple to get this. Put it in this little thing and roll it a couple times, and out comes the garlic with almost all of it. Put it one more time in here. Okay, a skinless garlic. And I'll do the next one. Skinless, make sure, because sometimes the little skin can hang on there, so just kind of keep checking them, and making sure that all the skin is off. That one looks good. And number 4. And number 5. Ooh, that one's got a little bruise or something on it, so we'll cut that part off. Okay. This water is boiling, so we're going to put in, that calls for 8 ounces of fettuccine. So, remember, take the pot off, lid off, and aim it that direction. Otherwise, you'll get the scalding water up under your wrist and you'll say bad words. Okay, fettuccine. So this is a 16-ounce box of fettuccine. So, since they call for 8 ounces, I'm going to try to use about half the box. And it's probably pretty close to half. And with pasta, obviously, because it's tight, well, I'm going to use a little more because I want more pasta. With pasta, obviously, it doesn't all fit in there, but as it starts to get moist, you can start kind of letting it, pushing it down into the water. I don't want to put my fingers all the way into the boiling water, so I'll use there we go. And then we'll let that boil for a bit. Turn it down just a bit on the heat. Let it kind of boil and simmer. The lid back on. You gotta be careful, otherwise it'll start boiling over on you. So keep an eye on that. Okay, in the meantime then, butter is melted over here. I'm gonna turn the heat up just a little bit. And all the way off, okay? Get that going. And now, sharp instruments. First I'm going to cut off whatever the heck that little bruisey thing was there, because that was kind of gross. And then I usually cut off the little ends of the garlic. There we go. Okay, so then you just want to, for me, what I do is I cut each garlic clove in half, because then they'll have a flat surface instead of rolling around and potentially slicing off fingertips, which your guests will not appreciate in the food. So I do that so that when I'm dicing it up, it doesn't slip around on me too much. And now, I'm going to just dice this up. Keep your fingers back. Roll your fingers back when you're slicing because, again, fingertips, not a good add to the course. And garlic gets really sticky when you're dicing it up. It wants to stick to the knife, it sticks to your fingers, it sticks everywhere. The oils from it kind of start sticking. So when you're dicing everything up, we'll, oh, see, look at, look over here, and see it's getting too hot. Woo. All right, we'll take that lid off. That's what you don't want to have happen. So there you go. I did that on purpose so you could see what not to do. Okay, so just dice that up. Careful as you're pulling off the stuff that stick to the knife here. Again, keep those fingertips back. Keep your hands and arms inside the card at all time. And I'm sure that if you took a cooking class, that they would tell you, oh, your dad was showing you all wrong on how to dice things up, but you know what? You get what you pay for, and videos are free. So this is how I do it. Again, you know, fingers up here, you're gonna keep your fingers out of the way for the most part, so you should be okay. Back and forth. And there's a couple of big pieces I'll still try to nail down a little more, but otherwise I think we're pretty close. All right. We'll use another little handy tool that I enjoy using because it makes things a lot easier, which is this little scoop to catch everything at once into the pan. All that sticky garlic off the fingers. Okay. And now we'll go back to spatula and turn the heat up a little bit. Ooh, garlic smells good already in the butter. And we'll stir the pots a little bit. Now that the lid, since I took the lid off, I can actually turn the heat up a little bit more because there's a little less risk of it boiling over as I'm in that. And we'll, the test of pasta, at least the test that I use, is it will, when you press against it with the instrument you're stirring it with, it should fairly easily break across the edge of the pan as you're pushing against it. So, okay, and let's see. Okay, we're also going to use a, how much, let's see, how much do we want to use? We want to use oregano, 1/2 teaspoon of oregano. Okay, so this is a 1/2 teaspoon. That's not nearly big enough for, I like oregano, so we're going to put more than a 1/2 teaspoon in. Yeah, it's probably closer to a tablespoon, but that's okay. We're going to let that, turn the heat down a little bit, let that get all flavory and savory and all that. Now, one of the other things it calls for actually in this recipe is red pepper flakes, which would give it a nice little bite. However, my beautiful assistant over here is not somebody who likes our food to bite them. So we will leave out the pepper flakes and move on. Okay. We got the oregano, we got the garlic going. We got this boiling, that's good. That's about ready, so we're going to dump in the shrimp. Start mixing things around here. So the shrimp was frozen, so it's going to take a little more time for it to be ready to have the pasta dumped in than if you made it fresh. But again, I'm trying to make this as easy as possible. There's certainly more effort that could be done on these things, but I'm trying to make this something you guys can whip together. So as opposed to having to, I could have bought these. They would have been gray and not frozen in the grocery store. But then you have to peel them and devein them yourself, and that's a pain. So these are already peeled and deveined, but they have to come frozen that way. So trade-off. Some of them are stuck together, so I have to pry them apart. Okay, I'm gonna get that heat up a little more. Now that there's some more liquid in the pan, I can do the heat up a little more. Let's see how our fettuccine is doing. There's still some stuck together, which, again, you kind of have to watch your pasta. See, there's this little chunk here. Look at it, goofy pasta. I gotta try to break that apart without, sticking my hands in boiling water. But all right, what we're gonna do is, to battle this guy is, we're gonna find that pasta stuck together and see if we can't fight it with a fork. Or not. Oh. Yeah, it's not wanting to do that very well. But it's still probably another couple minutes before it's ready to go anyway, so perhaps once they're really ready to be pulled out and drained, they'll pull apart a little easier. Okay, keep stirring this, get everything good and hot. All the ones that are frozen, make sure that you get these heated through. You don't want to end up with frozen shrimp you're biting into in the middle of your meal. And then, let's see. Oh, we're gonna set the shrimp aside again. We just keep setting the shrimp aside, poor guys. All right, so once that's, we'll give that a minute or 2 or 3, 5. Because once we get this all heated up, throw it in the bowl again, and then it will rinse and drain the pasta. Actually, don't rinse it, just drain it. Get the pasta going, and then melt the butter back into the pan here. And in the meantime, they want 2 cups of arugula. Arugula, Parmesan, and the pasta. So 2 cups. All right, there's a cup. So that's about a cup. That's about a cup. So we're here. We've got to chop this up some here to just roughly chopping it. It doesn't need to be diced like I was doing with the garlic by any means. You just want to have it kind of bite-sized so that when you put a bite in your mouth, you don't have a piece of arugula going back to your plate. Well, okay, that should be about it. So that's roughly about 2 cups of arugula. We want, for the Parmesan, we wanted a 1/4 cup of Parmesan. Okay, so that's Parmesan. This is the grated cheese Parmesan, aged 10 months. And I have no idea if that means anything good or bad, but so this is a 1/4 cup. I like cheese. This is stupid. We're going with at least a 1/2 cup of Parmesan cheese because it's Parmesan cheese. It's really good. Okay, ooh, look, our shrimp over here. Looking like it's getting pretty good. I'm gonna dump all this here in a minute to the bowl. Melt the butter. And how's our pasta doing? Is it? I think so. I think we're getting there. We still have that one piece that's just wanting to lump together. I'm just, you know what? Just, come on. Stop fighting. Ooh, look, see, now it's breaking apart. A little better. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. I think I can. Okay, so let's see if it's done. I told you, if you take something like a fork, and see if the camera can see. So I'm going to take some of that pasta, try to get it up and scalding my hand, and push it up against the side of the pan. And you know what? Just a little on the firm side. I'm going to let it go for like 1 more minute. I'm going to take, in the meantime, the shrimp and see if I can't make a complete and utter mess by dumping it all over here. Okay, got it, good. Got all get into there. All that garlic still in there. Alright, let that pan heat for a minute. We have then, let's see, what are we gonna do here? We're gonna put in the remaining butter. So, I'm gonna do it in like kind of 1 tablespoon chunks so it melts a little bit quicker and easier. But you're gonna put in the remaining 6 tablespoons. Let that start melting in. Get it all around the pan, get that going. All right, I think our pasta is probably done. As done as it's gonna be. It's time to move on. All right, so over we go. Important instrument in the kitchen, the strainer. So dump the pasta in. Now, remember, turn your stove off. Don't leave stoves on. That's a bad thing. Okay. You don't want to rinse your pasta because that makes the sauce not stick to it. When you cook pasta, it produces something or other that happens to the pasta that makes it, when you put sauce on it, sticks. If you rinse it, you rinse that off, and then the pasta only goes naked. The sauce just drops right off. So don't rinse your pasta. All right. Now, run away. Come here. Okay. Now, put it over here crapping. We're gonna put the pasta in. Just gonna turn this down because that sounds like it's too hot. Gonna melt that butter with the pasta in there. You want to put in the baby arugula. So, baby arugula. Okay, arugula. You want to put in. Yeah, we're not putting in a 1/4 cup of cheese. Why even bother? Okay, we're going to put in at least a half cup. And, you know, if it kind of spills a little more, then, oh well, what can we do? It's just kind of spilled. Oh, bummer. Okay, so now we let all that cheesy goodness melt in. All that heat's gonna break all that cheese down. Oh man, that does smell good. Vanna, does it smell good?
It smells very good.
All right, let that cook for just a minute or two until it says until the arugula wilts. So we need to watch for wilting arugula. We'll have caution signs up. Caution, wilting arugula. Oh, and okay, important lesson number 1, way at the beginning. Always wear a white shirt when you cook so that you can spill crap on it, because That's what you do. Okay. So we put in the pasta, arugula, cheese, and then we're about ready for the shrimp. Oh my, look, oh my gosh. My handy assistant actually handed it to me while I was doing this, so I didn't have to go away. And then we're going to do the shrimp into the pasta. Mix all that in. Ooh. Okay, we're gonna let that all kind of start going and making noises like it's getting hot again. And then, while all this is like heating up again, do yourself or the person who's going to be cleaning up the kitchen after you a favor and start putting it. Okay, I'm just dropping the stuff everywhere. Start putting some stuff away. Dishes into the sink, the food back into the fridge or whatever, because there's no need to be a total slob. Well, no, there's not. So we're going to garnish it with parsley at the end of this whole thing. But, especially if you're cooking by yourself, while it's heating, you got time. Start straightening things up and getting stuff done. Dishes into the sink. No slicing the fingers. Trash into the trash. Arugula back into the fridge. Parmesan cheese back in the fridge. Okay, come look. Look, this is how much I like cheese. Look how much we have cheese. We got Mexican cheese. We got sharp, seriously sharp cheddar cheese. We've got pepper jack cheese. We've got smoked fresh mozzarella. We've got fontina cheese. We've got feta cheese. We've got mozzarella cheese. We've got apple cheddar cheese. We've got smoked bacon cheese. We've got cheese sticks. We've got some more Parmesan cheese down here. I have pepper jack cheese for my sandwiches. Cheese is good. I like cheese. Can you tell I like cheese? It's cheese. Okay. Arugula back into the fridge. Arugula on the counter, back into the trash. I'm doing over here. Oh, look. Okay, so you can just see the juices in there are just starting to bubble a little bit, which is probably meaning it's just about right. Because again, I want to make sure everything's heated good and all the way through. Put some oregano back in the cabinet. Excuse me. Make sure you have some good spices. We'll go through one of these. We're going to go through some basic spices, what they do and why you want them. And we're going to go through all the basic pots and pans and utensils too, so that when I tell you use this, you'll say, oh yeah, I have that, instead of being confused. All the things, quarter cup of cheese, really? Really? Quarter cup of cheese? Okay, we'll get the rest of this off here. And I'll rinse off this knife because all it did was cut up our poor baby arugula. Well, and our garlic. But. Okay, and rinse that off. No slicing the fingers, and we will pull off. Just pull off about that. Pull off about that for garnishment of parsley, because as any decent chef will tell you, not that I'm a decent chef, but any decent chef will tell you, presentation is important. So, again, kind of a rough chop of the parsley. No roughing or chopping of the fingers. Pull a couple plates out. And I think we're ready. So the stove. It's important to turn off the stove. Going to scoop out some pasta. Some shrimp, make sure the shrimp aren't escaping, not getting in there. Okay, so there's one helping. And there is, so there would be my wife's helping because she eats daintily and at normal amounts, and then there's your dad's helping, which, because, you know. All right, put that back on the stove. Garnish with a little bit of parsley to make it look like it's coming from a restaurant or something. And that's it. We have garlic butter shrimp pasta. So that's it. That's what we're having for dinner tonight. Okay, that was a level 2. You'll impress your friends. It didn't take a whole lot. See, it was just boiling pasta and throwing stuff in a pan. Pretty simple. Okay. See ya. Before I say goodbye for sure, you should test it and make sure. I'll either choke and die, and that will be your sign not to make the pasta, or I'll say, wow, that was really good, and okay. Yeah, make the pasta. It's good. Okay, bye.